Continuing with Exodus 1. Now these are the names of the children of Israel who came into Mitzrayim with Yaakov. Every man came with his household: Reuben, Shimon, Levi, Yehuda, Issachar, Zebulun, and Benjamin, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, and Asher. And all the souls that came out of the loins of Yaakov were 70 souls, for Joseph was already in Mitzrayim. And Joseph died, and all his brethren, and all that generation, and the children of Israel were fruitful, and increased abundantly, and multiplied, and grew exceedingly mighty, and the land was filled with them. Now there arose a new king over Mitzrayim, who knew not Joseph. And he said to his people, Behold, the people of the children of Israel are more mightier than we. Let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply, and it come to pass that when any war should chance, they also join our enemies and fight against us, and so go up out of the land. Therefore they did set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens. And they built for Pharaoh treasures, cities, namely Pithom and Ramses. But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew, and they were mortified on account of the children of Israel. And Mitzrayim made the children of Israel serve with rigor, and they made their lives bitter with hard bondage, in mortar and in brick, and in all manner of bondage in the field. All their bondage wherein they made them serve was with rigor. And the king of Mitzrayim spoke to the Hebrew midwives, of whom the name of the one was Shiphrah, and the name of the other Puah. And he said, When you do the office of midwife to the Hebrew women, you shall look upon the birthstones, and if it be a son, then you shall kill him, but if it be a daughter, then she shall live. But the midwives feared God, and did not as the king of Mitzrayim commanded them, but saved the men children alive. And the king of Mitzrayim called for the midwives, and said to them, Why have you done this thing, and saved the men children alive? And the midwives said to Pharaoh, Because the Hebrew women are not as the Mitzrayim women, for they are lively, and are delivered before the midwives come to them. Therefore God dwelt the midwives, and the people multiplied and grew very mighty. And it came to pass, because the midwives feared God, that he made them houses. And Pharaoh charged all his people, saying, Every son that is born you shall cast into the river, and every daughter you shall save alive. And there went a man of the house of Levi, and took to wife a daughter of Levi. And the woman conceived, and bore a son. And when she saw that he was a goodly child, she hid him 3 months. And when she could not longer hide him, she took him a box made of papyrus, and daubed it with slime and pitch, and put the child in it. And she laid it in the rushes by the river's brink. And his sister stood afar off to know what would be done to him. And the daughter of Pharaoh came down to wash herself at the river. And her maidens walked along by the riverside. And when she saw the box among the rushes, she sent her maid to fetch it. And when she had opened it, she saw the child, and behold, a weeping boy. And she had compassion on him, and said, This is one of the Hebrews' children. Then said his sisters to Pharaoh's daughter, Shall I go and call thee a nurse of the Hebrew women, that she may nurse the child for thee? And Pharaoh's daughter said to her, Go. And the maid went and called the child's mother. And Pharaoh's daughter said to her, Take this child away, and nurse it for me, and I will give thee thy wages. And the woman took the child and nursed it. And the child grew, and she brought him to Pharaoh's daughter, and he became her son. And she called his name Moshe. And she said, Because I drew him out of the water. And it came to pass in those days when Moshe was grown that he went out to his brothers and looked on their burdens. And he noticed a Mitzrayim smiting a Hebrew, one of his brothers. And he looked this way and that, and when he saw that there was no man, he slew the Mitzrayim and hid him in the sand. And when he went out the second day, behold, 2 men of the Hebrews strove together. And he said to him that was in the wrong, Why dost thou smite thy fellow? And he said, Who made thee a prince and judge over us? Dost thou intend to kill me as thou didst kill the Mitzrayim? And Moshe feared and said, Surely this thing is known. Now when Pharaoh heard this thing, he sought to slay Moshe. But Moshe fled from before Pharaoh and dwelt in the land of Midian, and sat down by a well. Now the priest of Midian had 7 daughters, and they came and drew water, and filled the troughs to water their father's flock. And the shepherds came and drove them away. But Moshe stood up and helped them, and watered their flock. And when they came to Reuel, their father, he said, How is it that you are come so soon today? And they said, A Mitzrayim man delivered us out of the hand of the shepherds, and also drew water enough for us, and watered the flock. And he said to his daughters, And where is he? Why is it that you have left the man? Call him, that he may eat bread. And Moshe was content to dwell with the man. And he gave Moshe Zipporah his daughter, and she bore him a son. And he called his name Gershom, for he said, I have been a stranger in a strange land. And it came to pass in the course of those many days, that the king of Mitzrayim died. And the children of Israel sighed by reason of the bondage, and they cried, and their cry rose up to God by reason of the bondage. And God heard their groaning, and God remembered his covenant with Abraham and Yitzhak and with Yaakov. And God looked upon the children of Israel, and God apprehended. Now Moshe kept the flock of Yitro, his father-in-law, the priest of Midian, and he led the flock far away into the desert, and came to the mountain of God, to Horeb. And the angel of the Lord appeared to him in a flame of fire out of the midst of a bush. And he looked, and behold, the bush burned with fire, but the bush was not consumed. And Moshe said, I will now turn aside and see this great sight, why the bush is not burnt. And when the Lord saw that he turned aside to see, God called to him out of the midst of the bush, and said, Moshe, Moshe. And he said, Here I am. And he said, Do not come near. Put off thy shoes from off thy feet. And for the place on which thou dost stand is holy ground. Moreover, he said, I am the God of thy father, the God of Abraham, the God of Yitzhak, and the God of Yaakov. And Moshe hid his face, for he was afraid to look upon God. And the Lord said, I have surely seen the affliction of my people who are in Mitzrayim, and I have heard their cry by reason of their taskmasters. For I know their sorrows. And I am come down to deliver them out of the hand of Mitzrayim, and to bring them up out of that land to a good land, and to a land flowing with milk and honey, to the place of the Canaanite, and the Hittite, and the Amorite, and the Perizzite, and the Hivite, and the Yebusite. Now therefore, behold, the cry of the children of Israel is come to me, and I have also seen the oppression with which Mitzrayim oppresses them. Come now, therefore, and I will send thee to Pharaoh, that thou mayest bring my people, the children of Israel, out of Mitzrayim. And Moshe said to God, Who am I, that I should go to Pharaoh, and that I should bring the children of Israel out of Mitzrayim? And he said, Certainly I will be with thee, and this shall be a token to thee, that I have sent thee. When thou hast brought the people out of Mitzrayim, you shall serve God upon this mountain. And Moshe said to God, Behold, when I come to the children of Israel, and say to them, The God of your fathers has sent me to you, and they shall say to me, What is his name? What shall I say to them? And God said to Moshe, Yeh Asher Yeh. I will be ever. be what I now am. And he said, Thus shalt thou say to the children of Israel, Yea, I am, has sent me to you. And God said moreover to Moshe, Thus shalt thou say to the children of Israel, The Lord God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Yitzhak, and the God of Yaakov, has sent me to you. This is my name forever, and this is my memorial to all generations. That's Exodus 3 up till 16.